Oh, sweet. How do you ensure informed consent has been obtained? Really simple. Ask them basically at the end of every single step if they're still willing to go through with the process. So you ask those 4 questions, that's how you get informed consent. Once they've read the form, then you ask them again if they're still willing to go on, that counts as informed consent. And then there's a process where they have to fill out the form. Once they've filled out the form and signed it, ask them again if they're still interested in going on with the process. I know it might sound a little bit like nagging right now, but trust me, once you're in the process, everyone really understands. And then once, of course, everything is done, you ask them one more time if they're still interested in going on with the process, and then we go from there.
Sorry, just
Yes.
reading the slide now, so
Mhm.
you want us to ask those questions after they read the pamphlet?
No. This is questions that people generally might ask you.
Oh.
And if they ask those, and so these are just examples of informed consent and why these are like frequently asked questions that people ask, right? And one of the biggest things with informed consent is making sure that they're as educated as possible. And so this is along those lines that they're going to ask those questions to make sure that they're as educated as possible. And the onus is on you guys to make sure that they understand what you're kind of telling them. Does that make sense? Everyone's up.
Do you think we could make it a point to ask these questions anyways, to make sure that they know what they're signing up for?
Yeah, you can do that for sure. That's a good idea. Yeah, so perhaps once they've read the pamphlet, check with them if they understand all these 3 main questions. We'll go from there. Does that make sense?
Is there like a chart?
Cheat sheet?
Yeah.
Or like a flow chart for what to do at each step?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
like
sure,
first,
we'll-
last, and the big four. Like,
No,
just like a
totally get
or
it.
something.
Yeah, we'll make one.
Okay.
Okay.
So I don't know if I'm
Yeah.
No.
What I
absolutely.
plan on doing is I'm going to record a video of myself with another person pretending to go through the process. And at the end of this, I'm going to get all your guys' numbers and I'm going to message it to you the exact flow of how we've been doing it and what to expect. And also I'm going to include on there like typical errors to watch for and typical things people might ask you, how to answer it, that type of thing. So at the end of this, before you leave, I'll just get your number and I can send all that to you. Okay?
So yeah, we'll have.
Don't be scared.
We'll have the flow chart. I know there's a lot of information right now. What we're also going to do is make sure you get partnered with with someone who's done the process before, and so you kind of get a feel for how it goes. And of course, at literally any point, either now, during the event, after the event, if you have questions, feel free to ask any one of the our regular volunteers. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for each person that comes that's new, we're gonna do a patient or a registrant together before we leave you on your own. We'll hold your hand up for a little bit.
Right, so that's what the form looks like. So you want to make sure that everything is filled out. This is super important because people could get matched with someone like way down the road. So let's say we have their cell phone number and it doesn't work anymore. At least we still have their home phone, at least we still have their email, right? So you wanna make sure every single thing is filled out. Also, this is something that confuses so many people, is this wonderful ethnicity chart right here. Sometimes like people will check off that they're Filipino or something, and then as they're going down, maybe their grandpa is Chinese, and then the rest of their family's Filipino. Okay, so what that means is if they even have one family member who's not part of the same ethnicity, then they need to check off for themselves multi-ethnic. So you want to make sure that they don't like check off 2 boxes like, oh, I'm Chinese and Arab. You know, like they have to check off multi-ethnic. So make sure that there's no confusion with that. But other than that, you want to make sure that they fill out everything.
Yeah, I'll mention one thing, like just common errors. So with that ethnicity chart, it won't affect the HLA or how they match or anything. It's more for statistic sakes. It's more for them to keep track. So if they're really confused, which there will be very many people who come in and have no idea what they are, then you just tell them to put multi-ethnic and then leave it at that. It's not going to affect how they match with somebody, but it's more for statistics.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, you're going to encounter people that like they won't have a home phone because let's be real, landlines are dying out. If they don't have a home phone, that's fine, but try to get them to fill out as much of the information as they can. That same goes for the alternative contact. If they put down an alternative contact and I don't know, they don't know like in the phone number for this person, we would need to make sure they have a phone number. Yeah, so quick thing about alternative contacts, remind them that it has to be someone that they're not living with. The reason being is if you're living with your partner, let's say, and you put like your partner down here, then if you move, chances are your partner is going to move with you, and so if they need to contact, if they find a match and like let's say the number's not working, then they'll like check out your home address and find out someone else is living there. Then it gets complicated and it gets very hard to track people down. So that's why it's important that they put someone else who doesn't live with them, and so that if the person filling out the form moves, the alternative contact will still kind of know where this person's gone. Okay, so quick thing about like all the forms I've passed out, guys. Just make sure like they're returned to me at the end. You guys can take a look at it, follow along.
Make sure that they're writing everything very clearly. Some people have really messy writing, so just like before they even start writing, remind them to write as clearly as they can. And also there's a lot of, if you go back, I'll show you this. There's a lot of like yes and no boxes. Make sure that they check off. And no, yeah.
All right, so I guess now we'll actually go through what the form entails. So as I said before, there's a medical portion to it, medical history portion to this. There's also the personal information, and at the back side of the form, for those of you who've seen it, there's the actual consent / signature policies, right? So yeah, there's the personal information. You get their name, all that stuff. Pretty straightforward. There's nothing too complicated about this. Once I've done that, now there's the health screening portion of the questions. Basically these are all the questions at the bottom. Tell everyone to fill it out. Read it slowly. Take your time with it, of course. These questions do get very personal because they'll be asking you about a lot of information that people may or may not be comfortable with sharing. So just make sure that while they're filling out this form, you're not like hovering over them. You know, you don't want to make them uncomfortable or make them feel pressured or make them feel like they have like hide it and stuff, because that really takes away from that consent part of the consent and privacy portions of what we're talking about here today, and it also makes it a lot more likely that they'll make a mistake filling out the forms.
Maybe I'll mention a weird question that I've gotten actually a couple times. So we did on a couple of our swabs have someone who was gay or lesbian or had a sex change, and they asked what do they click. So you would say what they were born with, and that it is okay to be gay or lesbian to sign up to be a stem cell donor, because they'll ask you that. And we've had that a couple times, enough for me to tell you guys that, so that there isn't that awkward question. But yeah, we had a lady who came in, or a person who came in was, born as a female. And so we told her to just click or check off what she was biologically, in case.
Again, if anything comes across that you guys aren't familiar with, by all means, call over one of our regular volunteers and we'll help you guys out. Cool. So yes, there's a bunch of health-related questions on that end. Let's go back real quick. So what Miriam was talking about, and I guess I lied. Sorry, Miriam. I guess they don't talk about it a little bit later on in the presentation. A lot of the questions and checkboxes are over here. However, a little bit farther down the road, there's a couple of question boxes that needs to be answered along this side. So when you guys check for completion, and we'll talk more about that very soon. Don't worry about what that means right now. But yeah, there's questions over here as well that sometimes people skip. Involuntarily, of course. So the registration form, they're welcome to read this. Basically, just a quick summary of what this says is that we're not going to clone you. We're not going to give your genetic information to anyone without your consent. And that's largely what it is. But again, if they want to read it, they're welcome to.
As well, that if like they get matched with someone down the road and they can't come to the place, and we can send Mounties out.
Yeah.
That's another thing that mentions. Yeah.
Yeah. So
You can send
Mounties.
the RCMP.
Yeah, RCMP. That's the right word, right?
So yes.
Yeah.
Mountain RCMP. So yeah, as you guys can see, just really make sure that whoever the alternative contact is not someone who lives with them, because that's a very common cause to get RCMPs like hunting for you. So it's a very odd reason to have the police. All right, consent to participate. Miriam, do you want to talk about how to pull that up?
Yeah, I mean, like he said, they can read it over if they don't want to. That's totally fine. But basically, all they have to do is sign where it says signature, and then they just put today's date, and that's all they have to do at the back of the form. So like all of this will be at the back of the form, and then this part, they don't have to fill out anything there. Okay, that's where the sticker is gonna go. And I
We'll
don't
leave
think.
the stickers out.
and
We'll talk about
Yeah,
that.
well, okay, we'll talk about that after, but the point is, they only have to fill out these 2 lines.
Just a quick thing about today, the date thing. It has to be in the format indicated here. The one match is quite a stickler for that kind of stuff. So it has to be your month date. Okay, consent to participate. Yeah. So just make sure that they're filling it out in pen. We'll have those available. If someone for some reason pulls out their own mechanical pencil, you can tell them to put it away. All the fields have to be completed. Make sure it's legible, etc., etc. If any of these things are violated, or if they make an error in either writing the date, or let's say they fill out one of the check boxes and then they realize later on that, oh wait, that's not the box that they meant to check off, call one of us over and we'll help you guys out with how to correct those errors. Whenever we give this volunteer training, we actually teach our volunteers how to correct it, but since this is very last minute, we don't want we don't want you guys to be overwhelmed with the process, right? So again, if there's any errors, call one of us.
80% of the people will make an error, I promise you.
I want to be surprised if it was higher. Okay, errors and why do we care? If there's an error that's not corrected, that could render actually the entire kit void. If they swab incorrectly, or if the swabs are labeled incorrectly and stuff like that, then they have to restart that whole kit again as well. So just really make sure, for the sake of efficiency and for time efficiency and resource efficiency, that no errors are made. And again, the best way to do that is just to make sure you explain things carefully and you've given them all the time and space they need to fill out that form. We don't want to pressure them in any way, shape, or form. We don't want them to have us hovering around them. We don't want them to feel like they have to fill out this form because they came here with their partner, stuff like that. Error correction. So yeah, as I says, that's rough. As I said, if there's any errors are made, call one of us over and we'll help you guys out. Miriam, you want to tell them what the barcode labels are for?
So are they stickering as well?
We'll do the stickering.
Okay,
We'll
so.
prepare the kits on the end. Do you remember how we
Okay, yeah, so the kits will come pre-prepared with the stickers, but the important thing about the stickers is there's a number right at the bottom of the barcode, and the important thing is that every single piece of the kit that has this sticker, the number needs to be the same. So that's one thing that you probably want to check over after they're finished completing the form. So there's going to be sticker at the bottom of the back of the registration page. We'll have a sticker at the bottom. There's also going to be stickers on each one of the 4 swabs, and there's also going to be a sticker on the envelope. So you want to make sure that the number at the bottom is the exact same for all of those places.
Yeah, I'll mention that at some tables you'll have 5 people swabbing at the same time, so there's going to be barcodes and stuff all over the place. So it seems like a simple thing, but when you have 5 people there, stuff can get mixed up really fast. So before you close up, just check that it is all the same number.
So a quick remark on how we're actually laying out the event. When they come, so you guys, everyone's going to be at either a station or you're going to be helping prepare those kits. So those are different departments on their own. What I mean by there's going to be people preparing kits, it's we're going to be off in one table and you guys are just going to be helping put together kits with one of our regular volunteers, so don't worry about making mistakes, ask questions, as I said before. And so that's going to happen when participants come in, they're going to actually come to you with a prepared kit. What prepared kit means is that the sticker will be where it needs to be, and the swabs, they won't be open, but they'll be covered up to here. And so the swabs will also come with this barcode on it, as it should. And the extra stickers, which is very important for record services, the extra stickers will be inside the kit. So we'll get to that, the one that's for labeling. Yes. You know what? We'll do all of the labeling stuff later. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, if anything happens, just call us again. Okay. The fun stuff. Mary, do you want to tell them what's so fun about swab?
Alright, yeah. So after they're done filling out the form, this is the part where you're going to get them to take their cheek swabs. So they're going to take out one at a time. So there's 4 swabs, and each swab is going to correspond to one of the 4 quadrants in their cheek. So upper right, upper left, and lower left. So you want to make sure that when they are swabbing, it's going to be sort of in a toothbrushing motion, and they want to apply steady, even pressure, and make sure that the swab is touching their cheek, not their gums, not their teeth, but their cheek. And they want to be scrubbing for about 20 to 30 seconds. So you can ask them, like, you can pull out your timer on your phone, time them for them, or if they want to time themselves, that's totally fine. But make sure they're not just like, and then putting it away, right? Like, you want them to scrub for 30 seconds.
Okay, so with the thing that we're passing around right now, you're gonna see that there is a person's face, and the person's face has like a certain swab sticking out in a certain direction. You don't need to worry about that when the person's assembling their kit. Basically what that's indicating is that each of those four swabs have to come from different quadrants. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like make sure they're not just doing their entire like right side of their cheek with one swab.
And this is how we're going to be dividing up the person's mouth through upper corners and lower corners.
Some people will draw blood. It's okay.
So blood's fine, food's not though. So just ask them beforehand if they've got food in their mouth, and if they do, just tell them to rinse it out.
Drink some water.
They hopefully have water.
Yeah.
If not, we'll have water, right? We'll arrange for water. I'm sure we can.
We'll have water.
Okay. Common errors. This gets fun. Okay, so we got people that end up sucking the swab. We got people who like do this with their swab while it's in their mouth. I even had one person like try licking the swab. So that's all right. Just just make sure you explain it really clearly that it's we're getting cheek cells, not gum cells, not teeth cells, not saliva, but actual like cheek cells on the inside. Okay, so when they're putting the swabs into the kit, I don't know if we actually mentioned this, but once the whole swabbing process starts, they're the only people that are going to be handling the kit. So that thing that's going around right now, once the first swab has been removed from its packaging, you guys are not to touch that kit at all. The reason being is that we don't want to contaminate it in any way, shape, or form, and we only want their genetic information on that in the swabs, right? You're explaining, you're welcome to like open up that kit, show them what the inside contents of it look like. But again, once we get going, don't worry about it. We have to make sure they don't touch it. So, as I said, just because it says swab A is coming from the top right corner, you don't need to. That doesn't mean that's how it needs to be laid out. Okay. Again, as I said, all this is saying is that each is just emphasizing that each of those swabs have to come from a different quadrant. What is important, however, is making sure that all the swabs are securely placed inside. We don't want them falling out or onto the floor or anything like that. Because if one swab falls, we have to restart the whole thing. The other important thing is that the stickers have to be over here, and the cotton portion has to be right there, as the diagram behind it kind of shows. Yes. Okay. So what we're going to be doing today, let's talk a little bit about how the event's going to go down. There is an answer for it if it's needed. Once that's done, we're also going to be doing a couple of administration work behind the scenes that need to be done for every event that we host. What that basically means is I'll tell you guys what we do so you guys have a better idea and there's a little bit more context. But what we basically do is we take one of these stickers, we put it onto another form to keep a track of how many kits we've collected and make sure that all the kits are coming from so all the kits are accounted for. And we also just look at the ethnicity chart for sake of statistics and record it right there and then. Okay, confidentiality.
Yeah, so this is super important. You want to make sure that, Rafa already mentioned this, but while they're filling out the form, you're not hovering over them. And even when we do check over the form, we're not looking at their answers, we're just making sure it's completed. Also, you want to make sure that when you're looking over the form or you're handing it to them, that it's concealed from the public, right? So that other people can't come over and see what their answers are. And basically, if you do happen to accidentally read something, you're not to disclose it to anyone else. But that's basically the importance of confidentiality.
Okay, so we're just going to read this out loud together just because you are volunteers with us and this is the agreement that they're automatically agreeing to by choosing to participate in the event. So what this says is the conflict of interest and confidentiality guidelines for volunteers. The high level of public support and respect that CBS enjoys results from the high degree of integrity, objectivity, and professionalism of CBS volunteers and employees alike. As a CBS volunteer, you have access to information not available to the general public. The CBS information is to be used only for CBS specific purposes. You must also ensure that your interest does not conflict with that of CBS. I'm not 100% sure how your interests could interfere with ours, but if that is the case, you have to make sure you remove yourself from the situation. The last thing it says is the following outlines. Okay, this is a volunteer thing for our volunteers, but that's what you guys need to keep in mind. That this is you guys are volunteering for the CBS, and we have a certain standard to uphold, and you guys are thereby representatives of that same standard. Why is privacy important? We don't need to get too much into it, but basically it's the law. So if you're, I don't know, if you're taking that information that they've given you, you're breaking the law. If someone for some reason takes a picture of that contract, of the, what do you call it? What's the word? Confidentiality form that they sign, or any of that genetic information, their health information, stuff like that, you are thereby breaking the law as well. Pretty simple. Just, I don't know. There's not much to be said about that. All right. Okay. So now we'll one more time just to get you guys familiarized with the event. This is our location. This is the Foundry Room right behind Grant Mac. So we're gonna have volunteers coming through here. Let me know if you guys can't see. If anyone can't see, come forward, or let me know and I'll explain it better. There's two main rooms. So we've got the main event area, which is over here, and we've got a background prep room. So in that background prep room, only volunteers are going to have access to that. What that means is that's where we're going to be preparing the swabs. That's where you guys can, if we have snacks, I'm not sure if we will, so don't quote me on it. But that's
so.
where you guys will, what's that?
There should be, but
Okay,
I think the guests have access to the bathrooms because the bathrooms are only through there. Yeah.
So that's the only reason, like, the guests will be going there for bathroom access. But yeah, so, and if anyone needs to take a break, because we've got some people that are volunteering for the entire event, for a solid 6 hours, stuff like that. Much thanks to those who are, and to literally anyone who's actually volunteering. So if you need a break, that's the place to go. We don't want to be congesting the main event area with extra bodies where we can avoid it, right? So yeah, volunteers are coming through here. We're gonna have a greeter. I guess Susan's volunteered herself for that role. The greeter is going to give the person a kit. That person is going to take a kit to one of the many stations over here. With the stations, what I mean by stations is there's going to be about 9 tables over here. At each of these 9 tables, there's going to be 5 chairs, so 5 people maximum that will be coming up to you. So you guys are going to be managing up to 5 people at a time. If you need a hand, I'll call one of us. Like, guys, I cannot emphasize how much it's important to be like open. If you need literally anything, call one of us over and we'll be so happy to help you guys out. So 9 tables along here, 5 people per, maximum 5 participants per station. You guys are going to be manning a station of your own, or maybe 2 of you per station. So the person's going to come in, they're going to bring their kid over to one of the stations, you're going to give them the spiel, you're going to get them to read the pamphlet, and you're going to kind of administrate the process over there. Once that's done, and they have completed the kit, they're going to seal it, they're going to have the sticker separate, and they're going to have the form independent of the other 2 items, and they're going to bring it up to over here where we'll have like our administration desk. After the administration desk, you guys don't need to worry about it, but what we're going to be doing is checking for completion and doing the background administrative stuff that I alluded to earlier on. So once all that's done, we will also encourage them to donate to check out our blood booth and talk to them about like donating blood. But also I encourage you guys, for once they've done the whole stem cell process, or if they're not able to actually participate with one match, to encourage them to go check out the blood donation booth, because that is very important as well. Yes?
Can they actually donate blood at the event?
No. So to donate blood, what they'll be doing is they would have to book an appointment, and we can book into, I think, what is it, 6 months in the future?
Yeah, 6 months.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. So whenever they're able to, they can come in on their own time. We've got a wide selection of times that they'll be able to come in if they want to. But yeah, we're not doing any blood stuff at the event. In fact, the only extraction of biological